anything to do with mental health. So that's where we come in and say, hey, you know what? It's okay, Shabab. It's okay, youth. We know the struggles that you come. At home, you're supposed to be Muslim. At Jummah prayer, you're supposed to be Muslim. On Friday, Saturday night, you're out there at the hookah lounges, bars, clubs, and you're at the parties, especially when you go off to university. I've been through the whole mix. I'm 30 years old now, but alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me and guided me. And if it wasn't for Muslim Care Center having this program, I don't think I'd have a healthy outlet to be able to do outreach into the community. So alhamdulillah, it's a beautiful program that you know, if you do get involved or if you do donate, the money's going towards a good cause, and it's in your community. You're not donating to some fund that's going somewhere in Africa or somewhere in the Middle East. Alhamdulillah, there's a lot of brothers and sisters that need help over there, but also we need to help our community here so that in the future, maybe my nieces or my children in the future, inshallah, and my little siblings, they will grow up in an area that they will have a safe place to go to if they have anybody stuck in addictions, recovery, mental health, whether it's anxiety, depression, all that type of stuff, right? And addiction isn't just drugs and alcohol. Addiction could be anything from gambling to pornography to too much sports, right? Like there's a lot of different types of addictions out there, and but there is a solution. That's pretty much what we're doing, right? And in my and in the program that I'm working with is more to do with the 12-step based program where we help create that safe space. And then another program that we worked with as well with the Muslim Care Center was during Ramadan was the food delivery for low-income families, and especially during the CERB organization, or during the COVID situation, that a lot of the families, especially like widowed mothers with 4, 5, 6 children, didn't know or couldn't get food properly on the table. So alhamdulillah, Muslim Care Center created a program of warm iftar meals on a daily for the 30 days. And alhamdulillah, all the donations that came and all the cooperation and collaboration with the restaurants and other brothers and sisters in the community, there was 9,000 plus meals that were delivered over the 30 days. Alhamdulillah, right? Through the Muslim Care Center. So it's programs like this that really help the community come together with no judgment, no stigma, nobody's frowned upon. It's like, hey, if you're having a problem, come, we'll try to help you out. If you're hungry, come, we will feed you, right? If your children or if your family members or other people in the community are going down a bad path and they want to come back, bring them here and we'll help them. As long as they're searching, Allah will provide, and it's providing through the Muslim Care Center, right? And yeah, we just, alhamdulillah, that's my story.
So when we started the Care Center last August 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced. The Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Firoz. I first heard about the Iftari program through the MCC chapter in Surrey, and I had the opportunity to do the deliveries during Ramadan, and it was extremely touching experience to work with the families and see exactly where the donations are going, and to see the faces of the families light up as we're giving the food on a nightly basis was truly a life-changing experience, something I haven't really been involved with. I'm really looking forward to continuing this work with MCC. for years to come.
So when we started the care center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced. The Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. My name is Sharina Khan. I joined the MCC Center to create an awareness program for addiction. We started an AA meeting we do on Friday nights. We're also doing Zoom meetings. And we created this program so that we can bring people from the community out and join and help with what we're doing with the MCC Center. We're looking to grow it, make it better, and to expand. And we're trying to create a new location, so we're looking for your donations so that we can expand what we're doing and giving back to the community. Thank you.
So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced. The Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact.
Hi, my name's Amna Tariq, and I'm a volunteer at MCC. I'm 13 years old, and I heard about MCC from my dad. On June 20th, we'll be having an online fundraiser. Please donate to MCC.
So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced. The Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hira Rashid, and I'm a social worker and a volunteer for the Muslim Care Center. In the last few months, we've developed some great programming for mental health and addictions for our brothers and sisters in the Muslim community. Coming up on June 20th at 7 p.m., we have an awesome fundraiser for our organization, and it's going to be online, available on Zoom. And you can find the link on our Facebook and our Instagram, and that's Muslim Care Center. We hope to see you all there, and inshallah, it'll be a great time. Thank you.
So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced. The Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact.
We all know the Vancouver downtown east side. It's very much in need, and it's a human tragedy.
All the people that are here that need help, we need to help them because they are our community members.
It's very recommended by the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You should not go to bed or sleep if you know your neighbor is hungry.
Put yourself in their shoes and think maybe I could be that person on the street.
Just coming here and giving them sandwiches, seeing how happy they are from something so simple reminds me to be more grateful for things in life.
Handing them a sandwich, yes, but also taking the time to listen to what they have to say, how they think about themselves, how they're humanized. They're not just like people we go out there and like give a sandwich or like a water bottle to. They're like, we become part of the community in a way.
In our faith, we are actually trying to help them, and we're supposed to be good, and like contrary to what maybe they hear in the media or from other people.
It makes me feel there's peace when I talk to people. We ask them about their stories. We sometimes even learn some stuff. It's very inspiring.
مساعدة الناس المحتاجين تعطينا فرحة، بتعطينا أمل.
Coming here and helping the homeless people outside that have way less than you do. Not even somewhere to sleep. It really makes you realize a lot of things.
And even the smile.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Bilal Cheema, and I'm here as your host tonight at the first virtual fundraiser for the Muslim Care Center. Thank you everyone for joining. I appreciate, we all appreciate the time and effort that you've taken and the commitment that you've made to join us here virtually for this evening's program. We have a full program. We're here sitting at the Central Cafe. Thanks to Brother Rahat Rao for lending us his cafe for this evening and providing this venue. And also we have with us our colleagues from Vancouver, who I will introduce in a very quick second. But before we start our program, and consistent with our traditions, I'm going to call on Brother Hafiz Hamadullah to start this program in the name of Allah with a Quran recitation.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا مما رزقناكم أنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي يوم لا بيع فيه ولا خلة ولا شفاعة والكافرون هم الظالمون. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم صدق الله العظيم. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious, the most merciful. O you who believe, spend out of what we have given you before the day comes in which there is no bargaining, neither any friendship nor intercession, and the unbelievers they are unjust. Allah is He, besides Him there is no God, the everlasting, the self-subsisting. By Him all subsist. Slumber does not overtake Him, nor sleep. Whatever is in the heaven and whatever is in the earth is His. Who is that can intercede with Him but by His permission? He knows what is before them and what is behind them, and they cannot comprehend anything out of His knowledge except what He pleases. His knowledge extends over the heaven and the earth, and the preservation of them both tires Him not, and He is the Most High, the Greatest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spoken the truth. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah, Brother Hamadullah, who joined us from Pemberton, British Columbia. Providing some context for today, I also want to introduce our colleagues who are in Vancouver at the Muslim Care Center facility at 140 West Hastings in Vancouver. Brother Yusuf, who is going to be my co-MC. I'd like to invite him and make sure that he's also here. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Yusuf.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Bilal. How are you?
How you guys doing? Alhamdulillah. How you doing?
We're well, alhamdulillah. I have
Wonderful.
Brother Adnan here with me as well. Assalamu alaikum.
Brother Adnan. Wa alaikum assalam, Brother Adnan. How are you?
Doing very well. You're coming through loud and clear,
Wonderful.
alhamdulillah. I want to send a thank you to
Wonderful.
our technical team here. Amazing gentlemen, alhamdulillah.
Many thanks to go around. I'll for everyone that's watching, for those that don't know about Muslim Care Center, this was a vision and an idea in the summer of 2019 that came to fruition in August. And since August, alhamdulillah, through food programs, daily nutrition programs, through counseling, through different groups that tackle different issues in today's society, alhamdulillah, Muslim Care Center has become a go-to organization for everyone. And we're going to talk a little bit about the different programs that the Muslim Care Center delivers, both in Vancouver, right now remotely, but also in Surrey. And alhamdulillah, we're going to talk about the impact that it's had since August. We're going to have some guests with us that are going to join us here in studio, well, what we call our studio today, in MCC Surrey and also in MCC Vancouver. So it's going to be an interactive session. We ask that you be patient with us. We've never tried this before. We're dealing with this just like you are dealing with this at home through COVID situation. We are trying to do the best we can, and we're hoping that you're patient with us and you remain with us through the program. We envision this program to carry out to 9 p.m., and we're hoping that you stay with us. We're going to have a very lively program and an interactive program. And if you have any questions, if you want to provide your comments, you can always type into the Facebook Live comment section, and we'll try to address those as best as we can throughout this program. Brother Yusuf, do you want to provide some comments? Opening comments, please.
Rahim, in the name of God, the mission of the Muslim Care Center started 1,400 years ago, when God's messenger came to Medina and told the people, feed people, spread peace, maintain ties of kinship, and pray when others are asleep. That message has echoed across continents and eons to Vancouver, Canada in 2019. One of our volunteers was on the downtown east side with a visiting imam. And this brother looked around at the situation outside here, where there's homeless people on the streets, where there's drug addicts, where there's people who are living in abject poverty and a situation not becoming of human dignity. And he asked one question. He said, where are the Muslims? Where are the Muslims when people are going hungry? And our Prophet ﷺ told us to feed people. Where are the Muslims when families are being broken up by the scourge of addiction and the scourge of crime? When he told us, the Prophet said, to bring ties of kinship, maintain those ties of kinship. When society is falling apart, facing such challenges, where's the peace that we as Muslims should be spreading? Alhamdulillah, a collection of caring individuals came together and the Muslim Care Center was born back in August 2019. Through the work of many volunteers and through endless hours, we were able over that time to launch many programs to help fulfill that action plan that the Prophet ﷺ gave us. We are now doing daily food distributions, 365 a year. In fact, during COVID, the Muslim Center was deemed an essential service by the city of Vancouver. Our food distribution programs have touched the lives of tens of thousands of people and has spread from Vancouver to Wally in Surrey and Surrey Central. So these are areas that are at the core, the center of a lot of the challenges facing society. Not only that, once we started and feed the symptoms of people suffering, questions are what is causing this? We know now that there's many core issues that resolved in people being homeless, people being hungry. But one of them was addictions. The Muslim Care Center was working with addiction experts as well as former addicts to help heal this painful burden in society. We have had seminars at masjids where the response has been amazing from the elders. May Allah have mercy on them, the masjid committees, all of the people coming together to help heal society, both for the Muslim ummah, many of Muslims are addicts, it is true, and for society at large. Alhamdulillah, the Muslim Care Center is taking the inspiration that the Prophet ﷺ gave us over 1,400 years ago and has launched various programs to help meet the needs of our society here in Vancouver and in Surrey. You will hear more about these programs in depth as we continue on throughout the night. Just want to start by saying thank you to our beautiful volunteers, thank you to our supporters, thank you to everyone who has participated in this endeavor since its launch. Alhamdulillah, together we're able to make a change by the grace of Allah. This program is something that we are all very proud of. And together with your help in donating to keep it going forward, we'll be able to spread the peace, feed the people, maintain ties of kinship, and help establish prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Yusuf. Thank you so much for providing that context. There's so much good that's being spread through the Muslim Care Center. As you mentioned, there's so many different programs that have impacted many people that are definitely in need, that definitely need assistance. And thank you for providing that context, the historical context that goes back to the time of our dear Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that message is still relevant today. That message is it's upon us to carry that message and breathe life into it, and that's what the Muslim Care Center is doing. For those that are viewing online, underneath the screen or down on the bottom of the screen, you'll see that you're able to provide or send in your donations at the Muslim Care Center at muslimfoodbank.com. So please, while you're watching, when you have a spare moment, make sure that you do contribute if you haven't already, and email your donations to Muslim Care Center at muslimfoodbank.com. At the same time, we are also sitting live here, both in Vancouver at 140 West Hastings and here in Central Cafe in Surrey, British Columbia at 10252 City Parkway in Surrey. You can bring your donations here throughout the program and throughout this evening. So without further ado, we're gonna invite our first guest. Our first guest is the life and the inspiration, the daily inspiration of the Muslim Care Center. This individual, our dear sister Sharina, puts her life on hold and is making sure that there is no disconnect between the services that the Muslim Care Center provides and the people who need it. So without further ado, I'd like to call on Sister Sharina Khan to join us.
Month of Ramadan, we served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced, the Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We're back here live at Surrey, and also I want to make sure that our brothers and our team in Vancouver are also live as well. Our first try at an interactive session is going to be with Sister Sharina here, who's live with me in
Vancouver
Surrey.
is always been ready to answer the call.
Wonderful, wonderful, mashallah. So we have Sister Sharina here with us. Sister Sharina, I'm not going to ask you anything right now. I just want you to tell everyone, tell us a little bit about the Muslim Care Center, how it started, and some of the main staple programs since August 2019.
Since August. Okay, so idea came out that we needed to have the Muslim presence in the downtown east side, and we organized a team to get together, and we were able to get the team together so that we could manage a way of distributing the food to the homeless, right? There's many Muslims there too, obviously, right? So we started daily distribution in the evening time, and we had food, like just simple food, like sandwiches, chips, water, and we got the distribution going, and it became a reoccurring thing every day, right? Even Monday through Friday, Saturdays and Sundays, maybe even twice. And we would distribute with a lot of the young Muslims, but a lot of the Muslim organizations came also, and they provided food and even their volunteers to come and be part of this. And now it's just about a year we're now, and we have served a little bit. It's the items that we've served is close to 600,000 meal items, which would include the water, the sandwiches, the chips. Even if someone made a big pot of food, we'd be able to make 50 or 100 even parcels out of those food. So there's a lot of food that was involved that we were able to provide to the residents of downtown East Side.
And Surrey.
And Surrey, yeah. So in November we started our Surrey team, and we are distributing in front of the city central SkyTrain station, and there's an influx of even here that are in need. Sometimes it's not just the homeless. It's people that are not even able to make their ends meet, and they're getting paid on Friday and they need something now, right? So able to provide. We don't deny anybody that comes to our table is offered a meal.
Absolutely. Brother Yusuf, if you want to ask a question, come in. But Sister Sharina, you had some comments. You wanted to share something today with us and with our viewers. Is there anything else that you want to share today?
The only thing I want to share is that it's such an experience. I mean, you guys really have to come out and volunteer, but it's, and see how it is, right? I mean, you can sit and you can watch from your home. You can look on our, social media site, and you can see that all the good work we do. But it makes such an impact if you actually come out to volunteer. And I know I probably ask a lot of people to even give funds, give food, because it's always a need, right? I mean, every day we serve, in both places together. I mean, it could be like, 200 meals, right? So can you imagine how fast funding can go? Can you imagine how fast, water, the surplus? We don't have an area where we're able to keep a lot of the things. So we need it every day. So if you're able to provide funds, please do so. Like, please donate as much as you can, so I'm able to sustain this, right, and keep it going, right? Because it takes, for me, I'm probably the only one on this team that goes and, purchases things and negotiates with the suppliers and vendors to make sure that we're able to get, keep the cost low, or even have things for free. But there are some things that we do need the funding for. So if you could please donate as much funding and, funds as you can, so I can keep this thing going, so we can keep it going. I really, really appreciate it.
So is it true that 100% of the funding is going towards the operations and serving the community?
100%. Yes, I do not, and it's 100%, and if more, if people donate even food, that's still part of it. There's no profit, right? So if there isn't any funding, like, I'll ask everybody. I'll use my own funds, right? Like, but it has to be done. Like, I don't. My intentions are so good that I don't look at it like it's for me, it's scary because I see these people in my own community and I want to make sure they're fed. So I will try whatever I can to make it happen, right? So it's important. It's important to all of us.
You want to put one of those headphones on, and I'll pass it over to Brother Yusuf. Brother Yusuf in Vancouver.
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, we're here. So the amazing work that our team has been doing for the sake of, and the Prophet ﷺ's example and his message is really what inspires a lot of our volunteers to do this social good. I just want to take a second and put some of our viewers in the mindset of what someone who comes and visits the Muslim Care Center will be feeling. A lot of these folks have not had anything to eat for days. If you recall back a couple weeks to Ramadan, how difficult it was for many of us to just go one day without getting something to eat. So if you take that mindset and now you amplify it by the difficulty of life living on the streets, and then you were to be given a gift of meal by someone who doesn't want anything in return for you, and they give it to you with a smile and with true care in their hearts, try and imagine how that would make you feel. Now, amplify that moment of truth by hundreds of times across a day. That is what is happening under the banner of Muslims Care. This is in Vancouver and in Surrey. The general population at large asks questions. Where are Muslims? What are Muslims doing? Well, we're here, and we care for the most vulnerable people. We're here to do it with an altruistic attitude. We're not asking for anything in return. We're doing it because we believe this is what beings have been made to do, to support one another, to care for one another. Now, Sister Sharina, can you probably share with us an example where someone's life was impacted by the change that the Muslim Care Center was able to provide them? While you're thinking, I remember clearly one example where there was a brother in humanity who was walking by and asked me, he said, "Is this for free?" And we were like, "Yes, of course, there's no strings attached." And looking at the food, and because a lot of times the nutritional value of the food that folks receive, it's not what we normally consume. It's maybe just a few grains here, something there. The shock on his face, and then the gratitude, not directed towards me, he didn't know it, but he was directing that gratitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who provided us with the ability to be able to fulfill this need, was amazing. It was amazing. And I'm here today to tell our viewers, every donation, every volunteer, they are the ones that, through the grace of Allah, facilitate those moments of truth. So do you have an example, Sister Sharina, that you can share, that something in real life, something that actually touched you personally?
So lots of people come to ask for food, and lots of people, they don't come during a regular distribution. They'll come knock on the door maybe afterwards, right? And so one of the individuals that came, he didn't just ask for food, but he had nowhere to go. And he was the first Muslim person that I probably encountered on the street. And I took the initiative. I, took the number and his name down. I knew that he lived in a shelter nearby. And he told me that, even the sandwiches were just enough for him. But, I felt like I had to do more. I was able to secure housing for him, from the government for him, and able to even was able to get a job through one of our employment agencies that we use. So yeah, it was the impact to do it so quickly, and he appreciated it. So it's something important, and these are the things that keeps me going, or keeps us going, and it's the gratitude that we know that, and they still remember, even during the month of Ramadan, he still calls, right? And he just wants to make sure that, Muslim Care Center is still around, and he's going to come back and volunteer. So, there's lots of stories like that.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell us, you mentioned Ramadan. I know the Muslim Care Center had a wonderful iftar program that you kind of managed. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so just around the COVID, maybe a month or two after the COVID pandemic, I realized that there were so many Muslim brothers and sisters and families, single mothers, who I was already giving groceries to once a month. I would be able to collect funding from just my friends, families, and we were able to provide groceries to some of the Muslim people that are, in the neighborhood in Vancouver, New West. But anyway, so I took on the initiative to start the Ramadan project. Told a couple people on the team this is what we're going to do. Set up PayPal accounts to make sure that the funding came through, and started asking for funds to help the iftaris for these families, because the masjids, the musallas, everything is closed. So where are they going to go, right? And sometimes for these families, that one meal, that one iftari meal, is just what they're surviving on. So. So I was able to get first I was doing for myself, and then a couple of drivers came on, and we were able to distribute to maybe 300 families in Richmond, Surrey, New West, Langley, North Vancouver, Burnaby, Coquitlam, even refugees that came, right? So we were able to distribute to families every day, and we didn't have one disruption. Okay, so that's every day for the month of Ramadan, and we didn't have any issues where there was no funding or any food that there's no scarcity. Like, we had food every day, we had funding every day, we had meals every day. Yeah, there's a little bit of hiccups in there to get the food out from the restaurants, and a lot of the restaurants, if it wasn't for them, this would have never happened. And I can name them all. I have a list, which I should let people know that every restaurant, every halal restaurant helped, and people donated food, not just the restaurants, but caterers too. Everybody got together. It was such a great experience.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I remember, I can attest to this. There was a number of days that, some of us went and helped drive the food out and deliver the food to those people. And I remember those families, some of those families were waiting outside. And some of those families were not home because they were working, and their children were under care somewhere else. And you're right. I remember that when I told them on the spot that I was on my way to bring over your iftar food, I could tell it in their voice how important this meal was going to be for them. And the fact that with all the different crises and all the different chaos and all the different strife and all the different issues that people feel on a daily basis right now, that they were still committed to their Ramadan, they were still committed to their fast. SubhanAllah, that's a beautiful thing. And the fact that the Muslim Care Center could play a small role in that. That you mentioned something about not worrying about money. When you do things for the sake of Allah, isn't it beautiful how things just happen?
Yeah, it was such a barakat. Like, not one day did I have to. The only thing I had to worry about, because I knew with all these families, some of them have dietary restrictions. So making sure that our spreadsheets that, we and one of the drivers, alhamdulillah, at the end, we were able to make sure that if there were specific things that we're allowed to eat, not allowed to eat, so trying to juggle all that. And it was so many, by the end of the month, we were able to serve 9,850 meals. Meals,
Subhanallah.
not each, each item, an actual meal for 30 days. We had so many families. By the end, the people were still coming, asking for food. Even after the month of Ramadan, people were still asking. And by the time I was done and I was cleaning up, because I have to clean up both locations, I would even get calls at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning from families and from individuals that did not even have money, for food for sahur. And so here I am, 2 o'clock in the morning with the MCC truck, delivering these foods to these folks. All right, so it's not just a study. I was there the whole night. People ask me when I sleep. Yeah, when I get home, right? But it was important to me, and I had that energy. I felt like Allah was just giving me that energy to keep doing it.
Subhanallah.
So it helped. I just have this one letter
Sure.
that a sister wrote to me. I get many. Lots of people give me dua. Lots of people cry to me. But this one, she, when I got this, I was so emotional about it because I didn't even read it until recently. I just knew that I had the letter. So I'll just tell you a little bit. I'll tell you quickly what she wrote. She said, "Take my salam. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sharina. Take my salam. I came to Canada on September 2019. And since then, by the blessings of the Almighty Allah, I got so much support in my life. Even after receiving so much love and appreciation from everyone, I was not ready for the much care of the affection that you and the Muslim Care Center has given me in the month of Ramadan. My mom was crying before the day of the first Ramadan as I'm not with my family, and it's my first Ramadan alone, far away from them, among strangers in a new country. She was worried about my iftar and sahur too. She also mentioned to me that she wouldn't be able to eat and the amount of foods and the variety of foods of iftar as I'm not living there with her mom. So you and the Muslim Care Center in my life as a pure blessing. Me and my family, had a Ramadan like I've never before imagined. It was great. It was blessed. It was cheerful. This was the blessing and the happiness that came in my way, different and surprising me just before the Ramadan, only because of you and MCC. We are so grateful and lucky to have the support. I am now a part of Muslim Care Center's family, and I couldn't ask for more from Allah. Also, a way of special thanks to you, sister. We wouldn't know each other, but the way that you took care of me is not at all less than an elder sister. Really, I want to thank and appreciate everyone's effort who is somehow related to this noble initiative. Inshallah, I'll be a more responsible member of the Muslim Care Center family when Allah makes me capable of it, both with my donation and volunteering. I really appreciate it if you need me for any kind of work or volunteering. I really appreciate it, and I pray that all of you make this, good. Thanks a lot. May Allah bless you. These kind of things are important, right? Is that we make a difference in someone's life. This person wasn't even here, but every day I make sure to have a meal for her and her sahurs too. And she doesn't live near my house; she lives far away. But I didn't realize that impact. And she's just one. There's so many children that come to you when you have the food, and they're excited, right? So these things are important. And
Sister Sharina, I'm just going to look at Brother Yusuf. Can you? I see you're here with us again. Can you just support those comments? I know you've also been involved from the beginning. This is not a one-off, as Sister Sharina says. This is something that's constantly being.
When I first came here, because I was promised there would be donuts, so it wasn't anything too much on my part, alhamdulillah. But Sister Sharina touched on a very interesting point, which is the passion of our volunteers. Now, the Muslim Care Center, part of our organizational culture and philosophy, is not only to help the growth and the healing of those outside our doors, but also those within our doors as well. Our volunteers are really the lifeblood of the organization. And it is you who we are really dedicating a lot of the thanks to. You guys have been here from day one. You guys have been putting out the food. You guys have been doing all this hard work. And for those listening who have never had the opportunity to volunteer, or maybe have only done it once in the early days, some of the things we're doing to help uplift and build our volunteers, I think it's important to touch on that as well. A lot of our student volunteers, they get to do their hours with the Muslim Care Center for school. They also get certificates and letters of recognition from us to help build their careers and to help build their academic growth. We're very passionate about growing beautiful people, not just having them spend time here. And one thing that I think Sister Sharina mentioned that was very important, and just to reiterate, is that every moment that someone spends in the path of Allah, it is going to bless them in this life and the hereafter. The work that volunteers have been doing at the Muslim Care Center isn't just to spend time or to just help, it is self-improvement. And part of what we're doing here has been to empower them as well. We have them take leadership roles. So many youth come and they become coordinators. It's not just coming and handing out food all the time. There's many roles that need to be filled and many opportunities for people to grow in skills as well. Coming into the next year, into the new year for the Muslim Care Center, we have an expanded portfolio of options that we're going to be providing with our volunteers. There's many different skill sets that are required to do this work, and we're here to help get those ones charges on us to help improve our volunteer skill set. One of them is the food safe program. So to handle food in a proper way, in best practices and in line of the law, all our volunteers are encouraged to get food safe, and it's a very useful tool in their own lives. So, Sister Sharina, if you want to talk maybe a little bit about how the Muslim Care Center cares about our volunteers and some of the things that you have seen in terms of personal growth and engagement.
Thank you, Brother Yusuf. Thank you, Brother Yusuf. Sister Sharina, do you want to make any final comments on that?
Final comments, if you want to volunteer, we have, like I said, the food safe program, and we have employment letters that we can, referral letters, reference letters that we can hand out if you need it for volunteering. So yeah, that's a good initiative for volunteers. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sister Sharina, for joining us here. Thank you for everything you do for the Muslim Care Center day in and day out. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your family and strengthen your family through the work that you're doing here. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being a leader.
Thank you. Yeah.
Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced. The Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced, the Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced, the Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced, the Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced, the Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center,
Talking with them nicely, this is like great worship.
I think it's important to be out there in an active, involved manner to show faith in action.
And it's very good way how to involve kids into donation. Like we all say to our kids, show mercy in order to receive mercy.
Charity for the sake of God, whether it is a smile or it's a small help or it's a food, and which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give it to you, you are giving back to the others.
So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced, the Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center.
Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum. Bilal Cheema here at the MCC Surrey Center, and we also have Brother Yusuf and others in Vancouver. We're moving ahead, and our next guest is no other than our esteemed scholar, Sheikh Bilal Khan, who I've known for many, many years. He's a local scholar, someone who's been educated right here in our community, knows and understands our community, and someone who's playing a big role nationally, internationally, through a variety of Muslim charities, and providing that Muslim scholarship in the charity and the giving and the work that's being done throughout the community. Maulana Nabil is here with us to speak a little bit about the Islamic inspiration. Maulana Nabil, we have Brother Yusuf, who you can see on this little screen here in front of us in Vancouver. We're going to pass it to you to share your words of wisdom with us, and he's also going to come back with us because he's also doing the fundraising portion later on in the program. But right now we want to pass over to you. The viewers are watching, and the floor is yours. Speak loud so it'll hear you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد قد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم ولا نساء من نساء عسى أن يكن خيرا منهن ولا تنابزوا بالألقاب بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. This fundraiser is extremely important to our local community here in Surrey. And we've been, alhamdulillah, working with MCC Muslim Care Center for over the last year, alhamdulillah. And it's very important to understand the initiative, the motive, the purpose of such an effort. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says that, O you who believe, a group of people should not ridicule or mock another group. Perhaps that other group that is being mocked may be better than them. Nor shall a group of women mock or ridicule another group of women. Perhaps those women being ridiculed are better than those other. وَلَا تَنَابَزُوا بِالْأَلْقَابِ. And don't speak to each other by calling each other bad names. بِئْسَ الِاسْمُ الْفُسُوقُ بَعْدَ الْإِيمَانِ. This itself is sin. So here at MCC, we are focusing on specifically assisting and supporting the people in our community that are in great need at this moment locally. And it's extremely unfortunate, but the reality is that we have a great stigma within each other, within our community. That people that have struggles that maybe we have never seen, we ourselves have not experienced, or we could not tolerate for ourselves, that we see those people as, not worthy, not entitled to help, and that this is their own faults and deeds. However, Islam comes with such a powerful approach towards this sector of life, this sector of people. I was reading this morning by chance, not even preparing for this, by chance I was reading. And I read such a beautiful thing, and it reminded me right away about the fundraiser, because it was the first thing I read in the morning. I opened up a book of hadith, and I saw that Sa'ad radiallahu anhu was a great sahabi. And in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was a very generous, very strong, very honorable man. So the Sahaba said that because he had so much honor, prestige, wealth, and had such a level of respect and honor amongst everybody in the Arabs, that he used to think that the people that below him are not as valuable. So كان سعد يرى أن له فضل. He used to think that he had value over others, some superiority. And the Prophet ﷺ rebuked him for this. And what he said was so powerful that it was not a lesson for Sa'd, it was a lesson for everyone. He said, Sa'd, إِنَّمَا تُنْصَرُونَ وَتُرْزَقُونَ بِضُعَفَائِكُمْ. In English, they have this proverb. They say that a team is only as strong as its weakest link. Right? A team is only as strong as its weakest link. And we are only as strong as the weakest amongst us. Which teaches us a very high level of respect for each other. That we cannot be successful until everybody is successful. But what he taught Sa'd was even a level beyond that. He said, Sa'd, you are only being assisted, you are only being granted success, you are only being given sustenance and provisions and help by Almighty Allah because there are weak people amongst you. Yani, Allah is blessing you by having those people that are in need amongst you. So our motive, our initiative, our effort, our focus, the purpose of this MCC, this Muslim Care Center, is beyond, a self-serving desire to feel better, feel that we're doing something for the community. Because we know we are, alhamdulillah, have good lives, and alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us more than others, that sometimes we are only giving back to the community out of sympathy towards ourselves, to uplift that pain of we're doing so well and other people aren't. But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he taught Sahaba that they need to do that because they are only successful because of those people. They are only valuable because those other people, Allah has put more struggle in their heart. Allah has put this world like this, that there are people of luxury and comfort. At the expense of the test, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to those people who are unfortunate. So the fact is that this is what Islam has taught from the beginning. You know, one time, a man, he used to work all day, all night, and he never got to sit with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So at that time, you know, in the times of the companions, they would love to spend time with Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The hadith is in Sahih Bukhari. And the man, he would work all day, he would never get to sit with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but his brother always did, all day, every day. So he came to the Prophet ﷺ complaining about his brother. He came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I work all day, all night. I never get to see you, and I want to see you every day. And this brother of mine doesn't do nothing. Then he spends all day with you. Prophet ﷺ said, do not disgrace him because Allah is blessing you from him. Yani, you think you are working all day and you are supporting him? No, him being in the struggle is supporting you. That those people around us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees every act that we do. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees our luxuries, our comfort, and Allah sometimes grants us that because of the fact that we are assisting those people that are not having those comforts and luxuries. So it's a very important lesson that we need to establish in our society. It should be inherited in us, which it's not, unfortunately it's not. We see things like poverty, homelessness, addictions, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and then we think they're all just ruined people. Yani Islam did not come only to rectify the better to better. It came to bring the people that were in the lowest part of life into making them stars of the universe. And that is the beauty of Islam. The beauty of Islam is that it took a man who was a slave like Bilal bin Abi Rabah radiallahu anh, and made him to such a point amongst the Arabs that Sahaba used to say he's better than Abu Bakr Siddiq. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, he started hearing, he didn't say nothing. The people said Bilal is better than Abu Bakr. Bilal radiallahu anh, he heard this information, he said, إِنَّمَا أَنَا حَسَنٌ مِنْ حَسَنَاتِ أَبِي بَكْرٍ. Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, he's the one that freed me. I'm a reward of this. But look at how the people saw him. And he came to such a point. Look at Wahshi radiallahu anh. In Jahiliyyah, he kills one of the greatest Muslims, Hamza radiallahu anh. But he spent his whole life in a desire to fight for Islam, where he also in jihad takes the most evil non-Muslim, Muslim ibn Kandab. And he says that my focus on rectifying myself was understanding all the evil that I had in my past. Yani, the truth is that it is a very large stigma, and this is, you know, one of the major purposes we have. Yes, we are distributing food. Yes, we are helping people. It's really about understanding the effort. If you understand the effort, then you'll give the money. Then you will give your time. Then you will give your support. Then you will give everything you have. You will care about this from the depth of your heart when you understand the value of something. And you just like when somebody says, you know, I built a business myself from the ground up. It didn't make any money. You know, he just bare minimum, he just passed by. But to him it means everything. It liberated him. He was not, he was his own boss. Spent his own time, blood, sweat, tear, money, everything. He's so happy with his own effort. It's his own baby. He cares about that so much, the same way The effort of the ummah, the effort of the people around us, those are in need and those not in need, the whole world will become so important to us when we understand the importance of it. You know, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to make dua, very beautiful thing. He used to say that, "Oh Allah, grant me the love of the poor." Yani, we have sympathy, pity, sadness, remorse towards them, but do we love them? Do we love them like Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? He would sit with them. He would say to those people who had slaves at that time that don't wear different clothes, don't eat different food. البسوا مما تلبسون وأطعموا مما تأكلون. Feed them whatever you eat. Give them the same clothing. Make them sing the same as you. That is liberation. That is liberating. That is uplifting. Yani, a lot of the time, the unfortunate reality is people need more support mentally, and people need more support in speech, being there for them, and the food is just a necessity. Look, they're gonna eat the same food as we're gonna eat, maybe a little different version, but they love the fact that somebody's there for them. Somebody's here to listen to them. That it might have not been their fault. They could have had struggles as growing up without parents. Parents died at young. They could have been abused, sexually assaulted. So many things happen. To break that stigma, to build a constant effort, and to be sincere in this is the goal of MCC. And it is an only necessary but unfortunate reality that we need support in people's time, in people's wealth. Wallah, if we didn't need it, if Allah didn't make this world like that, that we just had all the money whenever we wanted, and we had all the time whenever we needed, and we can liberate everybody at every time, we wouldn't be doing things like this. Very important for everybody, inshallah, to understand the purpose and the effort of MCC and to join with us and support us.
Jazakallah for your words of wisdom, your talk. You tell a number of different things that are so relevant that struck me. Brother Yusuf, are you with me here? I want to make sure that the brothers in Vancouver have an opportunity. You touched on something. You talked about the historical context. You talk about checking our motives and checking our intentions. You talked about how we view others. You talked about stigma. You talked about the work that's being carried out through Muslim Care Center, the work that's being done. You provided that context, which is why we wanted you here. Thank you so much for providing that. But I just want to go to Brother Yusuf. Brother Yusuf, do you have any questions for Sheikh Nabil before we take a little break?
How do you look so handsome, Sheikh? Like, I try, I got the hat, I got this, but your gear looks much better than mine. So maybe we can talk about that another time, inshallah. But alhamdulillah, for questions, I'm good. I just wanted to actually introduce everyone to my good friend, Dr. Osama El-Nezi from the Vancouver Virology Center. And he's here with us today because they've been doing really amazing work on the downtown east side. They've been providing free HIV and hepatitis testing to those who need it. Now, part of the partnership with the Muslim Care Center and the center is that we've provided a space for them to do this on a consistent basis. So I'm going to let the doctor explain all of that. But an interesting fact, him and I, we have both had COVID-19 and alhamdulillah have gotten past it. So part of the testings that we're familiar with would have been very useful for us. So doctor, please, would you like to tell everyone about the experiences that you've had and how the care center came about with your organization?
Yeah, I've been, working as an individual in the downtown east side for the last 10 years. And I was doing it as an individual, as a physician, and my interest in HIV and hepatitis C and addiction. And I was trying to help marginalized population and the population in need, which is typically the downtown east side people. And in the 2015, we established, to expand our work and make it more organized, we established a non-profit organization called Vancouver Virology Center. And simply what we are doing every week, I get my team from my clinic and volunteers, generous volunteers with me, and we go to the downtown east side And we work in streets, alleys, corners, churches, food bank. We sit there for half a day and we test people with a rapid test for HIV, hepatitis C, and we screen them for addiction. And we find the people who have the diseases. If it is hepatitis C, we can help him to be cured. If it is HIV, we help him to be, controlling his disease. And if it is addiction, also we help him to control his addiction. And we've been working, after that for a few years until we approached by the Muslim Care Center here in downtown East Side, as they were doing an amazing job looking after people here, but they were concentrating on working as a food bank, supplying daily meals, and at the same time they help them with their addiction, and they do a group for addiction support. And I would I was so happy and love to work with them in collaboration and cooperation, because I think we meet the same goal, that we would love to help people in our city in the downtown East Side, as in from our religion point of view. In the Holy Quran, God mentioned وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا, and who saved one life is like saving the whole humanity. And here he said humanity. He didn't specify to be Muslim or non-Muslims. It's just for the good sake of it. If you save one human being, you are like saving the whole humanity. So since that time, we start to be on regular basis with the Muslim Care Center, as become our headquarter in the downtown East Side, because we've been mobile. The previous 10 years, we've been mobile in the whole areas here and become our headquarter. And we are happy to continue our cooperation, which is interrupted by the COVID-19 crisis. And we would love to come back soon now after everything under control. And this is simply our mission in the Vancouver Virology Center. And we are happy to work with other non-profit organizations who share us the same goal and trying to help people in our city in Vancouver. You have anything to ask about it?
That's beautiful. So I think that with the example that Dr. Lanesi has given, we can see that the care center has been working together with multiple organizations to target and deal with a lot of the symptoms that are causing people to be on the downtown East Side in the first place in such dire situations. I want to take a moment and actually interact with the audience a bit. We actually received a few questions. One of them was, why is it the Muslim Care Center's job to be providing food with people who have drug addictions or who are, out to score and hit drugs? Is this in a way enabling them? It's a good question. And I do want to start by saying I understand where it's coming from. It's coming from a perception of care, which is that if we're giving them food, is this really helping them to get out of the situation they're in? If we're providing that service, maybe they have money to buy drugs or whatever the case may be. I'm going to answer this in three parts. The first part is from an Islamic perspective, and that's, we are not here to judge. We are not here to quantify or categorize people. If someone's coming to us and says, I'm hungry, do you have food? The Holy Prophet ﷺ, his orders were clear: feed people. It wasn't something that was qualified. So what we're doing here first and foremost is feeding the hungry. Their own personal lives and the challenges and the addictions and the difficulties they're facing, those are problems that we are also trying to solve, because they are something that are detrimental to the human body and spirit, but they are separate. Hunger is one thing and addictions are another. Now this comes to the second part of my answer. Once we start identifying and seeing who has an addiction problem, we are trying to provide them with services as well to get out of that. But for those of you who know what it's like, it's a lifelong thing. You don't just turn a switch off. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are going to just struggle getting through that for a while. And part of that struggle is to know that people who care about them as human beings and not just see them in light. So that ties together is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year, hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nabila. I am the mental health professional within MCC. Brother Tariq connected me to MCC. I saw the amazing work on the social.
Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Hira and I am a social worker.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. My name is Shakil Khan and I am a clinical youth worker.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nabila and I am a social worker as well.
So the three of us are the team that makes up the addictions work, the mental health support, any other community support that you see us doing out there with the Muslim Care Center.
So Muslim Care Center has been around for a little over a year, and we've been helping the vulnerable sector in regards to mental health and addictions. Just a quick little statistic I want to bring up. This May, we've had over 100 overdoses during COVID-19, and this is why myself, Sister Hira, and Sister Nabila are here to support those who are in mental health and addictions.
Yeah, we're here to give we're here to give support and a helping hand, a rope of hope for the individuals that we support, because addictions is an issue that we do face within the community, and we don't even talk about it. And this is where we can enable that difference, enable that change, because Vancouver is a community that, you know, needs the help right now, and we are here at Muslim Care Center doing the work to support individuals in the community.
And even with COVID-19, we've seen a spike in mental health issues. We've seen a spike in domestic issues, including domestic violence. So some of our work that we do is supporting families across the Muslim community all over Vancouver and the Lower Mainland when it comes to any of those different family issues. So we support people who are, you know, being contacted by the ministry. We support people who are facing domestic abuse, especially sisters. We work very closely with different organizations that will help in that process. And a part of that is addictions work as well, and how addictions can creep into these different issues and we're not aware of them. So our job is to bring to light these issues and to show the community that yes, we have addictions in the Muslim community, and no, we are not safe from it just because we are Muslim. It's important to recognize it, and it's important to also recognize that addictions in itself is an illness, right? It's not a weakness. It is an illness just like any other illness you would see. For example, diabetes, right? It's an illness. It's not the person's fault that they get it, and addictions works the same way. And that's why we're here to work against these in our community and to support our community members.
One of the sisters, or someone on Facebook, sorry, messaged on the live chat saying, if we are to support these people, these individuals, sorry, are we enabling them? And the answer to that is a no. We have the belief that everyone, every human being, whether you're Muslim, African American, Asian, or even a blue person at this point, we are always open to help everyone and anyone. Everyone is hungry, everyone is in need, and with Muslim Care Center, what we're trying to do is give everyone that support and give a helping hand, and more importantly, a voice to the voiceless, inshallah. One thing that I do want to highlight is that in regards to the mental health spike during COVID-19 and in regards to the depression rate and the suicide rate, our team is here to talk to individuals, whether it be group support or peer one-on-one support. We're here to break that stigma of it's taboo to talk about mental health or it's taboo to talk about addiction. Within the Muslim community, this talk never happens. I'm here and we're here to say that it's okay, we can talk about something like this.
We are here for you. We're helping you. And I just want to give a shout out to Sister Sharina for enabling this difference. Absolutely. Because organization is not anything without Sister Sharina. And I just want to thank her, and I want to express my gratitude towards her as someone who's enabling this difference and making a change in the world.
We can't give enough thanks to Sister Sharina. So she's sitting there like staring at us, just staring at us. But she deserves all the love. If you see her out there doing the work, grab her, tell her thank you, give her blessings because she deserves it. She deserves it so much.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Please support the cause, donate, and give as much as you possibly can. This money is not going to waste. It's helping those who need it the most. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Nabila. I am the mental health professional within MCC. Brother Tariq connected me to MCC. I saw the amazing work on the social media that was being done in the downtown East Side community and the Surrey Wali Strip, and alhamdulillah now they're trying to expand to the Surrey area, and they just need support in finding a building so that we can continue with our programming. Alhamdulillah, I've been involved in the addictions programming and now the mental health programming as well. And we just need the space to kind of create a space where we can continue the growth of this organization. So inshallah, with your support, follow us on our socials to find out when the event is for our fundraiser. That is on June 20th. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you there, inshallah. Thank you.
So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced, the Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year. Hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Jiand, part of the Muslim Care Center. How I heard about Muslim Care Center is I actually, on East Hastings down in Vancouver, I saw that there was a Muslim Care Center, and I was at Jummah prayer, and one of the brothers stood up and he announced that they're handing out food and sandwiches on the street to homeless, and helping with mental health and addiction issues. So I got kind of involved in that way. I got some friends and some other brothers in the community. We went and started doing the sandwiches, and then all of a sudden I found out that there was more to the Muslim Care Center, not just handing out food, but they wanted to start a side of helping with addictions and recovery and counseling. And then how I got really involved with that is because I come from I come from a background of seeing a lot of brothers and myself also getting stuck in addiction and getting
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. We're working out some technical difficulties with Vancouver, inshallah, but we'll have them back. Thank you, Sister Hira, Brother Shakil, and Sister Nabila for coming and joining us and speaking about the impact that the programs that you are administering through the addictions team and the counseling team. Thank you for sharing that wonderful work. Many people don't know, we don't talk about addictions, we don't talk about some of the things that you're going to talk about with us, Brother Jian, but these are realities in our community. Well, there's so many people that are struggling, and we tend to ignore it. We tend to think that it doesn't exist, and these are real. These are real suffering that is happening in our community. So all the work, more power to them. I echo their comments about Sister Sharina, as I said earlier in the program. Alhamdulillah, she breathes life into MCC, and she motivates and inspires different volunteers. And many of us are here because of how we see her work ethic. Not because she invites us to come, but because her work ethic and the example that she sets. So now I have Brother Jian that does a lot of work with the addictions team, but is here to talk a little bit specifically about the program, about something that's maybe taboo still within our community, but I know that's something that's very real and people are suffering from, which is alcohol addiction. And how do we pull people out that fall victim to that? How do we erase the stigma that's attached to that? Those people are human beings just like us. And as Molana, the Sheikh earlier said, don't look at others as if they are beneath us, or don't look at others as if they are not on our level. This is some of the work that you do. This is just some of the path that you've taken. Brother Jan, welcome to MCC. Thank you for the work that you do. But please share your thoughts and your experiences.
No, thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We at the Muslim Care Center are so blessed to have an amazing team, right? Sister Sharina and everybody. It's not just a one-person thing, right?
Absolutely.
Like we all work together, and just like the Ummah, we all have to work as a whole, right? But the thing about alcohol and drug addiction, it's very rampant in our community, right? And on top of that, people don't want to talk about it. Just like Brother Shakil was talking about, and Sierra and Nabila, they're all saying, the community does not want to talk about it because it's shamed. It's like, frowned upon.
That's right.
And many of our youth and shabab are getting stuck in the clubs or in the bars and growing up. So this is what happened. And I was born overseas, but then I grew up here. I came to Canada when I was 4 or 5. And then what ended up happening is I had to be a certain way at home. I had to be a certain way at the masjid. I had to be another way at school.
Playing many different roles in one day.
Playing many different roles, so which led to an identity crisis. It led to always wanting acceptance and to be validated, and also to be in the in crowd, right? As they say. So when you're growing up as a Muslim, you don't know who you are. You're like, am I Pakistani? Am I Muslim? Am I Canadian? Right? And you fall under this trap of okay, I need to fit in. So then you start drinking, then you start going in with the bad crowd because they're the cool crowd, and then you kind of leave or go off the path, right? That's what happened with me. But alhamdulillah, Allah brought me back onto the right path. And then the thing about alcoholism and addiction, it's a disease that pretty much can take anybody. Young, old, doesn't matter what country. Does not discriminate. You could have a master's degree or a PhD and you'll fall into addiction. You could be from a low-income family, fall into addiction. It does not matter. It could be pills, alcohol, it could be anything, right? Anything upon anything. So that's why the Muslim Care Center works very diligently. We've started a program. It's a 12-step based program, but what happens is we have meetings. There's a women's meeting, and then there's a mixed meeting where you can come to a safe place and talk about your problems and talk about your feelings and emotions and any of the trials and tribulations that you faced. And then you can get the support. Because at the end of the day, you can go see a counselor, you can go see a psychiatrist, you can go to treatment, you can do so many different things. You can go to the imam. What ended up happening is one of our Muslim brothers, he slipped in the holes of the system. It's kind of he grew up as a Muslim, and when they went to the masjid, I can't name which one, but when they went, they didn't get the support. They're kind of shunned and they're judged, right? And they're like, oh, your son is a black sheep, you shouldn't be part of the community. But all he wanted was help and support. And if the Muslim Care Center was around back then, maybe he would still be alive right now, right? He ended up going into Christianity because there wasn't that Muslim support to go around him. But alhamdulillah, now at the Muslim Care Center, we want to let the whole community know that if you fall in victim to alcoholism or the disease of addiction, there is a safe place to come. There is peer-to-peer help. You can get the right counseling, and on top of that, you get brothers and sisters who've lived it to help you out, right? There's a saying that an alcoholic or an addict is stuck in a hole. And what happens is a doctor walks by and then the addict looks up and says, hey, I need help, right? And then he says, okay, here's a book. Read this book and it'll help you come up. And he walks away. And the addict doesn't know what to do. And then after that, a priest or an imam rolls up and says, hey, okay, what are you doing in the hole? He's like, I've fallen ill with addiction. I need help. And he's okay, here's a book, say some du'as, and you'll come outside, right? And then all of a sudden, the addict is still in the hole. He's like, what do I do? Another addict walks by, and he's like, what are you doing down there? He's like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And then this addict jumps into the hole with the other addict and shows him the way out, right? And that's what Muslim Care Center is doing. We're trying to help other addicts and other people who've gotten stuck in whatever fitna that life throws at you, and helps you come out of that hole, right? We help the whole family heal. And then
helping each family or a member of the community, of the Muslim community, will help the ummah as a whole, right? Just like the brother was talking about the looking at the poor and the rich as one, we also have to look at the addicts and alcoholics, or even our brothers and sisters who are living on the streets, as as part of us, right? And we're only as strong as our weakest link. So inshallah, if we can help one another and stand strong with one another without judgment, inshallah, and have the support and break that stigma of feelings and emotions should be suppressed. No, we need to talk about the mental health aspect of everything and work as a team, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, Muslim Care Center is doing that, right? So with your donations, we can all work as a team, and then the funds will be allocated properly, right places, right, to the right teams, and then we can start healing as a ummah, inshallah, and as a community, inshallah.
SubhanAllah,
Right?
that's a wonderful program, a wonderful story you've shared with us. Like your experiences. I don't have any questions. I just want to say that there's some words that you use that have been echoed through this program this evening. Stigma. You talked about community. You talked about how Muslim care centers become this go-to. It's like people have been attracted to it because there hasn't been other options. Even if he's grown. If you look around the Lower Mainland, we have massages all over the place. But what's the purpose of a massages if it's going to say no to someone that comes there for help? Before you could pray, before you can be sincere, before you can do all of that, you got to feel welcome. You got to feel like you belong, right? And that's what the Muslim Care Center, through the variety of programs, is doing, right? I just want to say thank you to you and your colleagues that are doing the work on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and inshallah, on an annual basis, because we're almost coming up to the one-year anniversary. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for being with us. Listen, those people out there that are watching, these are the types of real stories and the real impact that the Muslim Care Center has had, pulling people up when they're down. That's just the right thing to do. I could say that it's Islamic. It's something that we don't have enough of in today's world, and we know what's happening, the discourse and the chaos that's happening all over the world. If we just go back to our basics and relate to each other as human beings without judgment, as you said, Brother Jian, we can do beautiful things. And that's what's happening at Muslim Care Center. If you guys that are watching this want this work to continue, then the only way that happens is you get involved. And if you don't, Sister Sharina will pull you out of your houses. But we're also going to make sure that you guys donate. And there's no set amount. Whatever you donate, Bismillah, send over. You can, on the screen, there's an email that you can send direct to Muslim Care Center at muslimfoodbank.com. You'll get a receipt for tax purposes, and rest assured that the money that you're sending is going to these very important programs that are not happening across our community. And I want to say one more thing, Brother Jan, is that there's a lot of things that happen in the community, but I haven't seen that any other program or any other organization bring some positivity to anything Islam under the Islamic banner. We don't discriminate. The center doesn't discriminate in terms of who needs food, who doesn't, who needs counseling, who doesn't, who needs shelter, and who needs a job. You help everyone. But through that process, through that act, not necessarily the words, they come to know that, hey, Muslim people or Muslims in British Columbia or Islam, someone under the banner of Islam is helping. And that is what we need. We need to make sure that Islam also has a role in this. And that's what the whole purpose of Muslim Care Center is. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate you being with us. And God bless you and the work that you're doing.
Assalamu alaikum. Jan, can you hear me?
Oh, Brother Yusuf is back. What's up? You look like a cowboy over there. Welcome back, brother.
Well, yeah, it's awesome. Got it today myself, actually, and I love it. I've come just in time for summer.
Can you hear? Can you hear? Okay, Brother Yusuf, please, before, I hope you heard what Brother Jan was able to share. I tried to improvise while you weren't with us, but please share with us.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, I caught a lot of it, and I just want to start by saying thank you to everything you've done. Over the last few months, as we've gotten to know each other, I've developed the highest respect for you as a person and as a friend. Alhamdulillah, you won't find someone with a better sense. And to that, one thing I really wanted maybe to take a second to talk about was this post experience, right? In supporting the community, in helping to build up both the character and the lives of a lot of our youth and a lot of our elders who have fallen into the grips of addiction. What are you seeing being the positive changing forces in our community in particular, Jan?
Alhamdulillah, the aspect of all of us working together to create a brighter future and giving hope to those who need it, right? Because I remember being stuck in my addiction, and I didn't see a way out because there wasn't any Muslims in the community that were doing this kind of work. But now, alhamdulillah, I realized that Allah had a reason for me going through it so that we can help other Muslims come out of it together, right? And we're slowly building it like a bigger team, and more brothers and sisters are going to join. And inshallah, with the funds that are donated today, we can continue doing Allah's work. And that way, our shabab in the future, because if you're looking at, there's lots of immigration right now, and lots of people growing up in Canada, either as first or second generation, that need those role models to help them, not go down path, not go down those, and know how to handle those trials and tribulations through high school, into university, and transitioning into the workforce, so that we can show the community, hey, you know what? Muslims are a strong ummah. Muslims are very supported and connected, and here to stay in Canada, to be part and to assimilate, along with having Iman in our hearts, right? That's the awesome part about Muslim Care Center, is that now the platform is there, and now the support and the human resources are there, right?
Jazakallah, Brother Jihad. Thank you so much for being with us. Brother Yusuf, after a short break, we're going to pass it over to you. I know we're going to be talking a little bit about the Dawah program, something that I love watching and hearing the impact that it's having. You have Brother Adnan Akil from the Bridging Gaps Foundation. So we're going to come to you in a sec, okay?
Actually, I was just talking with our technical team, and there's something that I'd like to bring ahead if possible, because our focus has been also on, as Jan said, is to heal the root causes. And one of the original supporters of the Muslim Care Center, which is our good friend Dr. Gohar Sheikh, has been chiropractic care, so manual medicine as a solution for pain and addictions. He wasn't able to be here with us tonight. He sends his salam and he wishes he was here. However, we've prepared a brief video where he gives an overview of that program. So if our guys can kindly play that for us, that would be really awesome.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters and leaders of the community. My name is Dr. Gohar Sheikh, and I am the founder of a not-for-profit charity that works on the downtown east side as well as works internationally, and that is House Call for Humanity Association. House Call for Humanity was really founded to get to be a platform for volunteer doctors and therapists to be able to provide their services to help people who are inflicted with chronic pain, musculoskeletal pain, and to offer a solution that is outside of the drug paradigm. And when I found out that our own Muslim community and the leaders of the Muslim community were also looking to establish a foothold in Vancouver's downtown east side, whereby the Muslims could begin to contribute back and help solve the problems of our community and our society. And we had our own volunteers, as well as volunteers from MCC, who went out in advance of those dates and canvassed the alleys and canvassed the streets for people who were homeless, for people who lived in the shelters, for people who were afflicted with addiction. And the opioid crisis has been shown to have its roots in dealing with chronic pain and the overprescription of pain medication. So House Call for Humanity is a platform where health professionals who specialize in manual medicine can start to provide what has been shown in research to be a very underutilized service that can be a solution for those people. So here we have MCC right there, sort of at ground zero, and House Call for Humanity is setting up a treatment camp right in the MCC on the downtown east side. So we had dozens and dozens of patients come by each treatment camp that we've had, 3 so far on the downtown east side, and with amazing testimonials and amazing results of what kind of life-changing event getting those treatments were. So I urge you to support MCC. I urge you to take a look at House Call for Humanity website, which is hcfh.ca, and to see the work we've done on the downtown east side and hear some of the testimonials. And inshallah, we have had to obviously pause due to the pandemic and the COVID crisis, but we are gearing up to get our services back down there in the very near future. Inshallah, make dua for us. Assalamu alaikum.
So when we started the care center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced. The Muslim...
Alhamdulillah, Assalamu alaikum. We're back again here in Surrey, carrying forward in our program this evening. I hope you're enjoying the program. If you are, please let us know through Facebook and YouTube. And if you have any suggestions, because inshallah this work is not going to stop and the work is going to continue, and we're going to do more of these outreach because it's your support that breathes life into the operations of the Muslim Care Center. With me now, I have the pleasure of introducing Sister Helena and Sister Wahiba, and they're going to talk a little bit. Well, Sister Helena is going to talk a little bit about the social impact, something that I've touched on, but something that each speaker this evening has touched on as well. But I want her to bring it all together for everyone at home, so you understand how important this work is and how important your support is. Welcome, Sister Helena. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for having me. The social impact that Muslim Care Center has had is tremendous. One of the biggest things that we've accomplished is that we've destroyed a lot of the misconceptions that people have about Islam.
Subhanallah.
So people in the downtown east actually approach sisters who are wearing hijabis and thank them for the work that they do, even though they're not associated with Muslim Care Center. Just because they see our volunteers out at the front distributing food, helping with smiles, so they now associate the hijab with mercy and kindness. That's one of the many things that are have
the impacts that have happened. Yeah.
Correct. One of the other ones is that we've had brothers and sisters approach us and say that they were born Muslims, but when they got deep into their addictions, they lost their way. Yeah, they've drifted. And we've had a brother pray at our center, and he was in tears the whole time. So that was one of the other social impacts that we've had.
So, Sister Helena, you just said pray. Let's remind people, because we haven't touched on this. Our MCC Vancouver is a full-time musalla, acts as a full-time musalla, and has Jummah prayers as well.
MCC currently is open for Dhuhr prayer, Asr, and occasionally Maghrib. We haven't been open for Jummah. We did, we have not been open for Jummah prayers so far, but inshallah, it's the intention. Yes, the COVID as well. Yeah. We've been closed because of the COVID.
Yeah.
For prayers.
But as the programs continue to be operated, as more people are attracted to what the Muslim Care Center is doing in the downtown east side, and inshallah here in Surrey, there is going to be an opportunity for people to pray and come and learn about Islam.
Yeah, true. Brother Adnan will be speaking more about that after this segment, inshallah. But I also want to introduce our new program that we just created, and it is after one of our volunteers got attacked in public in broad daylight on our public transit system. A woman came up punching her on the head after telling her to go back to her country and that she wasn't Canadian. This volunteer is a visible Muslim woman, and that is what
inspired this program?
This inspired the program. So I will let Sister Wahiba speak about her experience teaching the class and what the class is about.
Assalamu alaikum everybody, my name is Wahiba. Just a little bit background about myself.
I was born in Vancouver, but I was raised in Morocco, and so I actually started training in martial arts from the age of 5. Alhamdulillah, 14 to 15 years now. I've been doing jiu-jitsu, judo, taekwondo, kickboxing, and a bit of wrestling.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, and actually I got attacked about 4 months and a half ago as well as a visible Muslim, alhamdulillah.
Is
And
he still in the hospital? Or she is still in the hospital?
no, he's in the police station. Yeah, but subhanallah, I ended up breaking the brother's pinkies and calling the police. Alhamdulillah, everything is solved, but what he didn't realize was he messed with the wrong sister.
There we go, there we go.
Yeah, so after that, the MCC contacted me to do a joint partnership and start sisters-only martial arts classes so we can help our sisters build up their confidence, inshallah.
So you just recently had the first?
Yeah, we just recently had the first class. I think it was last Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check this out. The Muslim Care Center, always evolving, always looking for new ways to reach people and having an impact, is now providing these self-defense program classes to sisters across the community. And even though it's COVID, even though it's difficult, even though Sister Alina left our studio live here, we had the opportunity to have our first class remotely. So there's no reason, there's no excuse. And I just want to say something, sister. We've had a few sisters up here tonight. Sisters are leading. Sisters are leading this organization. And I'm telling you, this is not happening anywhere else across our community. And this is a beautiful thing. We need to give them an opportunity. If more women were running this world, we probably wouldn't have the chaos that exists today. That's my personal opinion, but I'm sure people in other parts agree with that too. But listen, there's lots of good organizations. There's a lot of things that are happening across our community. A sister and partner organization like Muslim Food Bank is strong sisters, but we also have strong sisters that are running, coordinating, leading by example in the Muslim Care Center, and one of them is Sister Wahiba and Sister Alina. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything you're doing, and good luck. And I was going to say, don't take from anyone. Thank you.
Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year, hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced, the Muslim Care Center has been providing daily distributions.
The Iftar project went very well. We were able to provide meals for the whole month of Ramadan. We served over about 9,850 meals.
One thing that I really appreciate about the Care Center is how it's a Muslim community initiative. It's not just one organization. There's over a dozen different institutions, and we have over 400 volunteers over the last year, hoping that the next year, through your support, we'll be able to expand and have even greater impact. So when we started the Care Center last August in 2019, none of us had any idea where this was going to go. A lot of the initial work that we did was around food distribution. Here in Vancouver, Canada, on Hastings Street on the downtown east side, and really the epicenter of a lot of the challenges society has faced.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back, everyone. A pillar of the Muslim Care Center has also been the spiritual healing and enlightenment of a lot of our friends and families and humanity on the downtown east side and wherever we're working. As Muslims, we believe that dawah is a fundamental part of our activities. There are many forms of dawah and many ways in which we can spread the true message of Islam to our fellow citizens. I have with me here Brother Adnan Keel, who is one of our most awesome volunteers who has been leading the charge on many things, but in particular, the dawah component. So I'm going to have him just introduce himself and maybe talk a little bit about it, and then we can ask him a few questions. And if the viewers have any questions that they want to know about dawah or any questions that they have about Islam, send those through, and we'll try and make it a bit interactive, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulil Ameen. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. I hope everyone is doing well. Jazakumullahu khairan, Yusuf, for the wonderful job that you've been doing. I don't know if some of our viewers were noticed that I was here in the beginning, and then I had a small emergency, so I had to run away. And alhamdulillah, I'm back. I know Brother Bilal is doing a wonderful job from the study location. Jazakumullahu khairan to everyone who's watching us, everyone who's involved with Muslim Care Center, and everyone who has chipped in their time, their money, and their efforts in setting up this virtual fundraiser, one of its kind in our community. So my name is Adnan. I've been with the Muslim Care Center since July of 2019, and I help out in whatever way I can. And one of the things that I'm most passionate about is the dawah component of it. One of our goals at Muslim Care Center is to ensure that we elevate the physical, the emotional, the mental, as well as the spiritual well-being of everyone around us through our efforts, which are grounded in our faith in Islam. One of the wonderful gifts that we can give to anyone is the gift of faith. And it is not us who gives it to them. It is Allah. It is Allah who gives this gift, who guides individuals. And we can only hope it is through our minimal efforts. It is through our minimal efforts. And sometimes our efforts can be as small as handing out the sandwich to someone, smiling at your face, and saying, Bismillah. Sometimes our actions of dawah are maybe merely standing as a proud Muslim woman in hijab, as kind individuals. Or it could also be in going a step forward in explaining what Islam is. So with our efforts, our dawah efforts at Muslim Care Center, we've been able to reach out to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of individuals in downtown Eastside, in Vancouver, in other parts of Greater Vancouver, and give the message of Islam through many different initiatives, like Meet a Muslim, like Jesus in Islam. And we can go into a little bit more detail if time allows.
So you mentioned two of our kind of marquee programs here, and they're in partnership with Bridging Gaps Foundation. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, and then maybe touch on what Jesus in Islam is and what Meet a Muslim is?
For sure. And something that comes to mind before I get to that, I think something that is extremely important for everyone to know, every single individual who has either donated their money or who is thinking about donating their money. Your money is not just spent on feeding people or giving dawah to people. Those are outwardly interactions. What you don't realize is the connections and the amount of good deeds that are done behind the scenes. When volunteers come to the center and they greet one another with salam, when they come here and they pray their salah, who gets the reward for it? Every single individual who has been behind in setting up this establishment, the Muslim Care Center. So your money, your donations are going far beyond just the outwardly actions that we see. There is a depth of interaction, and there are multiple dimensions of good deeds and barakah that we sometimes don't see because it's very subtle.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that money spent in His cause is never lost. It's never wasted.
And 100%, Brother Yusuf. And one of the things that I have realized, and this is a realization I had perhaps this afternoon when I was driving to MCC, is the amount of barakah, the amount of new projects, the amount of individuals that have come in. And I remember when we started Muslim Care Center with a few individuals, we were just handing out 50, 60, 70 sandwiches, and then it went up to 300, 400, 500. And now you can see the amount of food that we've distributed, the amount of projects that we've started. And this is the definition of barakah. This is the definition of barakah. When you drop when $1 stretches,
it goes so far.
And it goes so far, that is barakah. And I've seen barakah in this initiative, in this project, in this establishment. So back to Bridging Gaps Foundation. Bridging Gaps Foundation is a non-profit within BC, which is directly aimed at bridging the gap between Muslims and non-Muslims through education, integration, and outreach.
Engagement and care.
Some of our programs like Meet a Muslim, we go out, we set up dawah booths, and we interact with people. With our program in Jesus and Islam, we go out to different churches and we set up a campaign, an exhibition on the life of Isa alayhi salam. And this has all been possible through the connections and through the support that we received through the Muslim Care Center.
So part of what I'm thinking of is, as a person who is a volunteer here, what would their experience be like if they were to go and choose to give dawah with the care center?
One of our aims with Bridging Gaps Foundation and with Muslim Care Center is ensuring individuals grow. They grow in their spirituality, they grow in their knowledge, they grow in their social and social skills.
Yeah, exactly.
So anytime a volunteer is interested in any aspect of Muslim Care Center, or specifically in this context in dawah, we ensure that they have the support in terms of training, in terms of exposure, in terms of constant, continuous mentorship, in terms of providing them creative opportunities in which they can put in their skills and their knowledge. So a volunteer can expect to be trained for a few weeks. They can expect to be coached in person at a dawah booth with someone who's more senior, and they can expect to be taken into different projects, like Jesus and Islam, a campaign which has never happened before. And we were able to go to different churches, some of the biggest churches in Vancouver. We were able to host our campaign there.
Right, the Christchurch Cathedral downtown. And, these kind of efforts, alhamdulillah, they are something that are foundational to our beliefs that part of healing a person's spiritual well-being will help them in a holistic approach. And I think we have our colleagues in Surrey. Is there anything that you guys would like to add?
You can. It's always verified. It's all verified.
Thank you, Brother Yusuf. Brother Adnan, one of my favorite programs in the Muslim Care Center is the Dawah program. Alhamdulillah, the impacts that the Dawah program has, the food distribution program has, the work that the Bridging Gaps Foundation does in partnership and in collaboration with the Muslim Care Center has been phenomenal. And I know that there's so many people that you touch that are attracted or just know a little bit more about Islam and by extension Muslims. And we need to be those examples, and you, Brother Adnan, and your volunteers, and those people who sacrifice their time to go and speak, and sometimes potentially hostile people, are doing God's work, and God bless you, God keep you safe, and thank you for all the work that you're doing. Is there any other programs that are upcoming in the near future? I know we're still living under the COVID rules, but is there anything happening online that you want to share with our viewers about bridging the divide?
Yes, for sure. Won't go into too many details because over the past few months, especially under quarantine, I had a lot of time to contemplate and reanalyze analyze our strategy, and I've realized there are certain gaps in the way we've been operating. So, inshallah, in the coming weeks,
should we bridge those gaps?
We definitely have to bridge those gaps, Brother Yusuf. There are gaps within the strategy which I think can be improved. There's always room for improvement. In the coming few weeks, inshallah, our community can see a few new initiatives which I won't disclose right now because they're still under work. A lot of focus will be on getting the dawah virtual and setting up a unique training program which I believe has been built based on years and years and perhaps decades of experience. So a lot of new content, some of the new an extension of Jesus and Islam will go virtual. We are aiming at making it virtual. Meet a Muslim. Again, we're planning to do these things virtually, so more and more people can join from the comfort of your home while we're in lockdown. And inshallah, we will resume with our in-person dawah sessions as soon as possible. There are many other halakas and virtual programs that are being planned for youth discussions and whatnot.
One really interesting point on that, and I think it's very important and impactful that the Care Center with Bridging Gaps has been focused on, is after someone has accepted Islam, how do we continue to provide that Muslim care for that individual? Brother, do you want to talk a bit about that?
This essentially is one of the biggest gaps. and I have to give credit to New Muslim Support Group that runs out of Vancouver, specifically out of Ajal Masjid. Brothers and sisters in that masjid and part of the New Muslim Support Vancouver, they've been doing a great job. I think I have to accept with bridging gaps, it has always been a challenge on that continuous follow up with new Muslims. But New Muslim Support Group have come into place right at the right time. So our workflow is we take care of the dawah aspect of it, and then there is a warm transfer to the New Muslim Support Group, where there are dedicated individuals, brothers and sisters, who have been constantly improving themselves, finding different ways of supporting new Muslims. And subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, just a few weeks back, I prayed Fajr at Ajal. And I realized one of the brothers who had recently converted, he was there for Fajr. He was there for Fajr, subhanAllah, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I've seen other brothers who have, and sisters who have converted at our dawah tables. I've seen them praying in the masjid. It's one of the most beautiful feelings. But you know what? This is not to say that we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. There is a huge gap. There is a huge gap. So what do we need? We need support. What kind of support? Financial, your du'as, kind words of encouragement, your in-person support. One of the biggest resources of Muslim Care Center are the volunteers.
Yeah.
Biggest resource are the volunteers. So we need individuals who can volunteer. We need individuals who can support the growth of their volunteers by donating financially. It's. I'm not a fundraiser guy. I don't.
You are a fun guy though, so
I'm a fun guy.
You got 50% of the way there.
But it cannot be denied that financial stability is extremely important in running such projects.
Yeah.
So brothers and sisters, please do support.
I'm jumping in here because Vancouver, just like any other activity, forgets about the growing city of Surrey. So I'm just going to butt in and say, hey, recognize Surrey, please. Brothers, you're doing wonderful work. Alhamdulillah, we want to support you. Brother Nan, at the final stage, I just want to, if people want to get to know about the events that are happening, upcoming events, where do they go find information? I know they can find it on the MCC webpage, but where else?
Bridging Gaps Foundation. We have a Facebook page. It's just called Bridging Gaps Foundation. Please do like that page so you can stay up to date. We are also working on improving our website. So very soon you will see the launch of bridginggapsfoundation.org and meetamuslim.ca. Meetamuslim.ca. You will also see, hopefully in the next 2 months, a relaunch of jesusinislam.ca. So these big core projects will have their own dedicated websites. Inshallah, that's the intention. And it will allow people, Muslims and non-Muslims, to volunteer, to engage with the work that we're doing in a much better way.
And folks, the best way to learn more is to come down to the centers, right? So it's 140 East Hastings Street in Vancouver, and just outside Surrey Central Station. You guys can look online to find the details. Just come on down, spend one day, meet the team, participate, get that barakah, and start to make a real impact for positive change in our communities. That's the best way, is to have that in-person experience.
And in Surrey, it's at 10252 City Parkway, right in front of Surrey Center. It's called the Central Cafe, and Brother Rahat Rao runs it, and it's providing a lot of service here to the people here in downtown Surrey, and is kindly working with the Muslim Care Center to provide this location for full-time use for the Muslim Care Center. Thank you, Brother Adnan. Thank you, Brother Yusuf. We're here at the final stages of our program this evening, and once again, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you for everyone that's watching and staying with us and staying paying attention to our program this evening. Thank you for all those that have donated leading up to the event and during the event that have donated. We're trying to capture everything that we can right now. Alhamdulillah, over the latest updates has been that we're just over 30,000. Our goal that we set, an ambitious goal in still COVID and doing this remotely, is 100,000. And we know someone that can motivate our friends and family and community that is listening and watching this program. I'm going to ask that Sheikh Nabil Khan to come back up and join us. He's going to lead the fundraising effort. Listen, this person is a young man born and raised right here in the community, has seen a lot, has been steadfast in his learning, and has stayed committed to his scholarship while developing a professional career. He's out there hustling every single day, making an honest living, and through that process is also providing a service to the community, not just here locally, but across the country. And I have awesome respect for this young man. He's our Sheikh, learned Sheikh. Brother Nabil, Sheikh Nabil, please join me. And I'm going to pass over the mic to you to speak to our listeners and viewers who are watching us, to provide them motivation to give to the Muslim Care Center during this time. And just before I pass it on to you, it would be remiss for me to not mention some of the people that have donated, to date. Earlier on today, we had the members, the executive members from the Pakistan Canada Association who joined us and provided their support. We have the Fiji Islamic Center that have provided their support. We've had a number of organizations across the community, the different masallas and masajids providing their support, businessmen that have provided their support. But also we've had other Islamic organizations, and someone that's been behind the camera that I'm sitting in front of, Brother Hassan Sheikh, a young man that's doing great work with Islamic Relief Canada, day in and day out, growing the organization, making sure that they're establishing a solid foundation right here in British Columbia as a national organization. So, Brother Hassan, come here, just say hello. Let everyone see you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's organizations like the Muslim Care Center that allow organizations like Islamic Relief. We do a lot of stuff abroad, overseas, our relief efforts in Yemen, Syria, Pakistan, you name it. But it's organizations like the Muslim Care Center here in Vancouver that allow us, people in need here in this community, allows us to help them. And that just, highlights the importance of organizations like the Muslim Care Center. So please donate full-heartedly. The people who benefit from Muslim Care Center, they'll always be there. The risk, it's written. But it's about you. You have this opportunity, so please take it and give as much as you can, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Brother Bilal. And Maulana Nabil, please take it away.
Jazakallah.
And
just for everyone's information, Islamic Relief is providing $1,500. Go ahead, Brother Yusuf. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
My apologies. What you were saying about Islamic Relief providing $1,500, they have been an amazing supporter and a fantastic organization. I'm going to just let Brother Adnan talk about one more initiative that we feel is very important to mention. But before he does, there is one organization in particular that I want to thank and send my appreciation to, and that has been the Muslim Food Bank. Now, the Muslim Food Bank has been providing the Care Center with phenomenal support and backing since day one. They've provided us with the vans necessary to do our deliveries. They have provided us with the administrative and accounting support that is facilitating all of this. In fact, if anyone here is donating, you'll notice that it's going to the food bank. It's because of their professionalism and attention to detail that we feel confident that your money is getting to where it should go to help the communities and to help society. Alhamdulillah, I want to thank their leadership team. I want to thank their volunteers. And I send a heart Food Bank, who has been really foundational in helping the Muslim Care Center get on its feet and start to do our good work. Brother Adnan here is going to be talking about one of our additional programs that we just launched this week, I believe it was.
Just this week, a few days back. And I think this perfectly ties in with our dawah efforts. One of the aims of reaching out to people, one of the aims of doing outreach, especially in the West, is to ensure that we treat a big disease. And that disease is that of Islamophobia. What is Islamophobia? It is the irrational fear of Islam and Muslims. In Canada, between 2012 and 2015, there was an increase of police-reported hate crimes against Muslims by 253%. That is a huge number, a very big number. 253% between 2012 and 2015. And these are statistics reported by Statistics Canada.
Which was the last year that they published it. And we know since 2016,
it has
and
probably,
the political occurrences in the world, this has increased tremendously.
Exactly. And we see the effects of Islamophobia, of anti-Muslim bigotry in our city. Time and time again. We've seen it multiple times in our city. And this is sometimes a living reality, especially for our sisters
who are visibly Muslim,
who are visibly Muslims because of their hijab. And it is our responsibility, not just as Muslim Care Center, as Muslims to ensure that they are safe, they're protected, and they get the justice they deserve. As such, we're launching a Islamophobia program. The first step of ensuring that we curb the issue of Islamophobia is by ensuring all the incidents are reported properly. So we have launched, and we will publish online, hopefully by tonight, a Islamophobia incident report form, whereby if you or anyone that you know of has encountered a act of abuse, and which may be motivated by Islamophobia, please do fill out that form. Muslim Care Center will ensure that the authorities stay after it and that you get the justice that you deserve.
And this is how we can get support from the government to address these issues. If there's no reporting, even of small things, a person saying a negative comment, a person just pushing you, a person doing that you might not think that these are worth reporting, this is how we make a big difference in changing things.
And sometimes small jokes, small subtle jokes can also be very serious, and they can have a consequence on a person's emotional state. So do not take this lightly. Jazakumullah khairan for your time.
Yeah, that's one thing. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Kareem. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. So alhamdulillah, you guys have all witnessed in a short span within the last few hours, the efforts and the ongoing work of the MCC, as well as the importance of the effort and the volunteers, and how dear this work is to them all. And like I said before, it's inevitable, and it's an unfortunate reality that we need to raise funds to make sure that we can support the people that are in need. And to run these programs is a cost, and it is a running expense. It varies from food expense, from lighting expense, location expense, and we need to work vigorously as a community and be unified on this front to make sure that we are helping and supporting this work like the MCC is doing. And a large part of that support is our financial support. Yes, we need to support in every other aspect as well, but it's very important that we also support financially. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran throughout the Quran has told us, أَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, that spend in the path of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to give sadaqah in dozens and dozens of places, with many rewards that are mentioned throughout the Quran, and how it never reduces from the person. In one of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives an example of it like a grain, and it growing into like vegetation, into a massive amount of vegetation. Like that, one sadaqah, one deed, one dollar that is given into sadaqah jariyah, a flowing and an ongoing charity that is going to expand over this community. And it is important that we understand how much we need as individuals, not only the needy people, how much we need to spend that money. The Prophet ﷺ, he used to say one powerful thing. He says, يَقُولُ ابْنُ آدَمْ مَالِي مَالِي مَالِي, that the human being, he says all the time, frequently, it's my money, it's my wealth, it's my assets, it's my value, it's my finance. But the Prophet ﷺ says that وَهَلْ لَهُ مِنْ مَالِهِ إِلَّا ثَلَاث, does he have anything in his wealth except three things? مَا أَكَلَ فَأَفْنَى أَوْ لَبِسَ فَأَبْلَى أَوْ تَصَدَّقَ فَأَمْضَى. Out of the three things, two of them are consumed by the person and then gone, not seen after this. He says the wealth is of three types: that which a person consumes themselves like food, and then it is gone, digested and wasted. And like that, clothing, he wears the clothing and it becomes old and now it's ruined. Or تصدق فأمضى, or he gives in charity and then he sees it in the future. He sends it forward. He sends it forward in so many aspects. He sends it forward in his akhirah. That those thousands or hundreds and tens of thousands of dollars that he spent and he earned hard in this world, he spends it in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then what happens is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him multifold of that in rewards in the next life and barakah in this life. Imagine in Surah Al-Fajr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives an example, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala literally calls us out on our own character. Allah says, فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمه. The human being is of two types. وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانه. One who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed with comfort and luxuries and granted affluence and wealth. And when he is given those things and Allah has blessed him with these luxuries, he says, my Lord has honored him. And the second is a man who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has tested, he has withheld wealth from the man. Then he says, Rabbi Ahanan, my Lord has disgraced me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He is teaching us that this is how we see, this is how we envision Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's favor upon us, that it is only monetary. However, it is not so. Allah says, كَلَّا بَلْ لَا تُكْرِمُونَ الْيَتِيمِ وَلَا تَحَاضُونَ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. Allah says, nay, you don't use that wealth, whether you have it or not. Either way, you don't use it to help the poor or the orphans. وَتَأْكُلُونَ, and you eat it and consume it in abundance. وَتُحِبُّونَ الْمَالَ حُبًّا جَمًّا, and you are obsessed with that wealth. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ, you will never truly obtain piety and obedience and a level of connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until you spend مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ, from the money that you love. Not the money that you have on the side. And you have so much wealth, so you think, okay, I'm covering all my expenses, everything that I have, and I'm still investing and I'm making sure that I can move forward in my life. And then I have a little bit of money here, I'll just put it on the side. It's not going to bother me. No, Allah says that you will not get true piety until you spend from the wealth that you love. So that's why the Sahaba, they used to spend from the money that they loved. Imagine one Sahabi, he had a beautiful garden. And while he was praying, he got amazed by his own garden. So it distracted him in the midst of prayer. Immediately that Sahabi, he gave that in sadaqah. It was a beautiful garden. But because it distracted him from his true purpose of life, that his wealth, his time, his body, and everything in his life should be for the purpose of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he got rid of it without hesitation. Like that, we are not asking, we are not seeking for the people to give to the extent that they harm themselves. No. What we are asking is that people give. We have a goal of $100,000. And $100,000, how many people will we feed? How many people will we help? How many people will come towards Islam? In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they used the wealth to bring people into the strength of Islam. They used wealth as a strength. Like Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah, he says that wealth is a means of our strength. That if we did not have the wealth, then the people, the government, and the people of authority and power, they would play with us like handkerchiefs, like tissue paper. We need to spend. So we are requesting, we're imploring every single person watching, not only to give charity, but also bring everybody else to bring charity. Because yes, you may be able to bring $1,000 inshallah right now, but you don't know yourself only. You have spouses and children and relatives and parents and cousins and they all know what struggle the world is in. It is a more of a reason that during COVID-19, during this pandemic, that we need to be here for people. So many are struggling. The Prophet ﷺ, he was described in such a way that he ﷺ would not even have food or a stove lit for
So
months
when we
on
started the
end.
care center last
He cared
August
so much.
2019,
He cared so much of giving to people. He alayhi salatu wasalam, he said that us prophets, we do not leave behind wealth. We give back to the community, we give back to the people, the generations ahead of us, we give them Islam, the knowledge of deen. The Prophet ﷺ said, a Muslim, he eats in one stomach, yani he only eats to his full. And somebody who does not believe, he eats sevenfold, seven stomachs. And the truth is that one man, and there's a hadith that say this, that the food of one man can suffice two men. And the food of two men can
now we
suffice
have
four
over
men. So we have no excuse. We have no legit reason to withhold our wealth. You know, one time the Prophet ﷺ, he was asked, what is the best type of sadaqah? He ﷺ said that the best type of sadaqah is you give it وأنت صحيح شحيح تخشى الفقر وتأمل الغنى. That you give sadaqah when you are healthy. And alhamdulillah, if you don't have COVID-19 right now, it's a reason for you to give sadaqah. That itself is a sign Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you. You should give in charity so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects you and your family. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّ صَدَقَةَ تَرُدُّ الْبَلَاءِ. That sadaqah, it will repel tribulations that come. تُطْفِئُ الْغَضَبَ الرَّبِّ. It will remove and extinguish the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you. So if you want to be protected in COVID-19 during this pandemic, don't think it's all about hand sanitizer and masks and gloves and making sure you're 6 to 8 apart from every single individual. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can afflict any single one of us with any calamity without any question. It is our duty to recognize that and come and bring ourselves towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Come as close as we can to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bringing him so near to him. It mentions in the hadith, the one who walks towards Allah, Allah will run to him. The one who comes one hand span, Allah will come one arm's length. And there's an example that we spend here $1, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you beyond that dollar. And you will think about it that I have $10,000 in my account right now and I'm giving 1,000, now I have 9,000. Allah is going to bless you, protect your business, protect your family, protect your job, protect all of these things. Was sahih, and you are healthy, and you still could use that money. You could be stingy and you could use it for yourself. You don't know if you're going to be rich tomorrow. Yani, this hadith is perfect for today. تَخْشَى الْفَقَرِ. You are worried that you may need that money tomorrow. And you also have a hope that you could use that money. Now, when you're in this conflict with yourself, where you're healthy right now, you don't want to give it. You could use it maybe if you're in a time of need, or there's a rainy day, or you know what, it could take you forward in your life. This is the time to give. This is the time to realize that this charity, this giving, is protecting us all. It is giving back to the community. إِنَّمَا تُرْزَقُونَ وَتُنْصَرُونَ بِضُعَفَائِكُمْ. You are being helped, provided, assisted by Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal through giving, through the poor and the needy and the people that are in need of support around us. So don't forget. Don't become naive or negligent or oblivious of this reality. We need to give with open hands. We need to every moment. We need to give today. Our goal is $100,000. Inshallah, you guys will do it. Keep doing it, and we need to give tomorrow and the next day and make dua. You know, one ayah of the Quran. You know, sometimes a person he has an intention to do a very strong business. So he tries to, convince Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he says, oh Allah, that if you, if you make me successful, I'll give the sadaqah. I will give more. I'll give more. The truth is that if we are going to give, we would give today. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is in our heart. We should be giving now and keep giving. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of your efforts, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you all the tawfiq to give, because it is beneficial for you as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept everybody's effort. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
One. Assalamualaikum. So we're here, and we want to thank everybody. We want to thank everybody that has watched our videos. We want to thank everybody that came and spoke on our behalf, on Muslim Care Center's behalf, all the production team, everybody, I can't name them all. May Allah Ta'ala keep it all healthy and safe. And we just wanted to give a shout out to some of the restaurants that helped me to the Saudi program. Place of Lahore, amazing restaurant that actually helped me through the COVID time when we had to serve hot meals to the downtown east side when there was no one else out there to provide food for them. So, alhamdulillah, mashallah, if it wasn't for them, I have no idea how I would be able to do that. There's Lahore Sweets, Pakwan, Sharma Palace, Sabah, Jumbo Grill, Mary Brown's, Fat Burgers, Afghan Choban, Mac Center, Dayabi Caterers, Najia Caterer, Jamila's Kitchen, Hot Pen Pizza, Paramount, Goldberg, Seika, Lighthouse for the fish, Golden Samosa Bakery for the samosas, Pack Punjab for the samosas, Sister Lubna to help me coordinate some of the caterers during the study program, and everybody else that helped me, the drivers and all the volunteers. I just wanted to give a shout out and let them know that. I really appreciate it. Muslim Care Center appreciates all their efforts.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. I'm Brother Tahir. I'm usually here at Surrey Muslim Care Center. If needed, I'm at Vancouver as well. I would like to thank everybody that's been behind this work up until now to make this fundraiser happen, and Brother Bilal for being the MC, and also Brother Yusuf for in Vancouver. And brothers and sisters, just remember one thing, whoever hasn't had a chance, first the ones that have donated, thank you very much for all your donations that have come. Allah is going to reward you immensely. As we can read behind us, he is not a believer whose stomach is filled while the neighbor to his side goes hungry. If you listen to that statement, and tonight before you go to sleep, you just put that in your heart and your mind, you guys will really understand this is the work of our deen. So whoever has not had that opportunity to go out and make that donation, reach out within your family, within your friend circle, to everybody, come out and donate. Not only does this end at donating, come out to MCC, Surrey, Vancouver, give your time, be that volunteer, and make it happen for everybody here. Jazakumullah khair for everything.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Nabil Khan. I just wanted to say thank you all for your support and your donations. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept that all from you. And we ask that you continue to support MCC with your time, your support, and your finances. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this and make this sincere for all of us involved. My sincere advice to everybody is to remember that everything we do is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we want to see these things beneficial in this world, but always accepted in the next. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us opportunity to be part of MCC, and also I'm thank you for all volunteers who done so a good job within a year, and this program is becoming more than just a food. And also thank you for Sister Sharina is always there, Brother Tahir, Brother Tariq Aslam, and all the brothers and sisters who's in the program. And this is the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also Brother Sheikh also taught us today. It's not like when we shouldn't feel anything like, oh, we did something for homeless or something for, we feed the people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us strength. Today I learned this thing, strength and the money, because of the people who don't have this much strength and money. Because of them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. So this is not us, this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gave us.
I just want to say Jazakallah khair for everyone who was watching the live, and I hope everyone can support us inshallah for greater causes.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much.